from Denver, everybody. We're in colorful Colorado. My name is Jared Correia, and I'm the host of today's show, which is being recorded live from the floor of LegalShield's Elevate Conference, the third annual such conference. Joining me today, I have three guests, all of whom are LegalShield provider law firms. So, to my left, not that you care, because you can't see where I'm pointing to, we have Joy Webb, who's with the firm of Merritt, Webb, Wilson, and Caruso out of Durham, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, and Brentwood, Tennessee. And then in the middle, we have Ben Farrow from the Anderson Law Firm in Jackson, Mississippi, and Montgomery, Alabama. And then we have Kevin Almeroth, last but not least, from Deming Parker in Atlanta and Savannah, Georgia. Thanks for coming on the show, everybody. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. We're happy to be here.
All right, so we're here at the LegalShield conference. We're going to talk about LegalShield-related items. But before we do that, let me allow you all to tell the folks out there listening, our vast audience, consisting of my mom and maybe her dog, about what we're doing here. So let's start with Joy. Can you tell folks a little bit about what you do, your practice areas, your law firm?
My law firm is the provider firm for North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee for LegalShield. We're a general practice law firm, so we pretty much help people with any kind of legal issues that they have, from family law, criminal law, traffic, employment law. It runs the gamut, really. We're pretty much, we say, we help people with every kind of issue that would arise from birth to death. So
that's a pretty wide coverage area.
It is. Our law firm has worked with LegalShield since 1995. So we've been doing this work for some time. I've been at the firm since 1997.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. And now, Ben, can you talk a little bit about your firm, how you work with LegalShield?
Sure. Anderson Law Firm in Montgomery and Jackson, Mississippi. We're the same thing as Joy. We have her whatever walks in the door. I guess I would add that our firm is one where we say don't let your legal question become a legal issue.
Oh, I like that.
Go ahead and ask the question.
Have you trademarked that is the real question?
Someone has, not me.
Oh, too bad.
At least I haven't checked recently, but probably not. We're a mid-sized firm, and I've been with the firm since 2002.
Awesome. All right. And Kevin, can you talk a little bit about your firm and what you guys do?
Sure. Deming Parker is going to celebrate its 29th year as the Georgia LegalShield provider firm in August.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I've been with the firm pretty much my whole career. I joined the firm in 1995, and just after having been admitted to the bar. And but for a 2-year stint as a prosecutor, I left the firm and then returned. I've been with the firm my entire career. So we have a division of the firm that's devoted to handling LegalShield matters and servicing our LegalShield clients. And we have that division broken up into a wills department and a small business and tax department and criminal defense department. And like Ben and Joy, we handle pretty much anything that walks in the door. And our philosophy as a firm has always been to find ways to provide the service and not deny the service. So we do our best to minimize or eliminate roadblocks as they come up. That we're all in a very unique environment in that we're probably given dozens of opportunities every day to think outside the box. When you're servicing a client like LegalShield, we're bound by a contract, but we're constantly being asked to think outside the box and to provide services that may or may not be covered under that contract. And so that's one of the things I enjoy most about it is the fluidity of the daily environment.
Cool. All right, so you guys are all pretty busy, it sounds like. All right, so for those people who are listening and who may not know, Joy and Kevin, you both talked about this. Kevin, what does that mean to be a provider firm for LegalShield?
Well, I think first and foremost what it means to the client is access. And I think that there are probably a lot of our clients out there affiliated with LegalShield that think that by virtue of having LegalShield, they're entitled to only good news. And I've never looked at it that way. I think that the number one benefit in my mind has always been access. What it means for us is the opportunity to open over 500 files a day for a client that's presenting to us for an initial consultation, and then in many cases for additional retained work beyond that. So it's a huge blessing, I always say, for us to have a client the size of LegalShield and for us to be able to service that client on a daily basis. It's a huge challenge as well. And that's one of the things that frankly makes it as interesting as it does. I think otherwise I would be bored stiff. And the fact that we have an opportunity to be involved in as many different areas of law on a daily basis as we are and to service as many clients as we do is what really makes it interesting.
Keeps you sharp.
Absolutely.
So Ben, what kind of value do you see deriving from your relationship with LegalShield?
Well, first off, I've known Kevin forever, and I did not know you've been working there that long.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Same thing as Kevin does. It's really the access. It's the consultation benefit is the best part about it.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's yes, your landlord can do that. No, your landlord can't do it. Yes, the sheriff has that ability. Yes, your employer can fire you for that. But it's the knowledge you give people that they need to know. And it really does come from anything. You can take a call from anything, from a crying mom about her kid getting arrested, from a husband who's just lost a child, to someone who's just lost their job. You've got to be ready to do anything for anybody at any time.
Yeah.
And my call volume is about 300 calls a day.
Oh, is that all?
Is that all? His call volume is way higher, so is hers. I'm the small guy here.
So you're just hanging out.
Yeah, I'm cooling my heels drinking Kool-Aid. Yeah.
And so Joyce, same question for you. Like, what do you see as like the main value of your relationship with LegalShield?
Well, I think the main value for our firm is that LegalShield gives us the clients that we want to have. We don't have to spend our time or energy rainmaking or going out and doing a lot of marketing work. LegalShield has given our firm, with their members, just access to over 100,000 families in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, and over 5,000 small businesses in those 3 states as well. So it's great for us that we get to spend our time really trying to help people with their legal needs instead of, trying to find more clients.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing too is that because of your relationship with LegalShield, you're seeing clients that you would probably not otherwise have access to, and who may not have access to legal services of this quality. Right? Would you say that's true, Kevin?
Oh, I think absolutely,
Yeah.
and I would really focus on the latter part of what you said, and that is we're able to service clients who, but for LegalShield, might not have access to counsel, and it's a great blessing for us as practitioners and legal providers to have that type of business coming to us every day, as Joy indicated. But it's a huge benefit to clients who might not otherwise have the means to retain counsel. Most legal matters are defined as an amount in controversy because at the end of the day, most legal matters boil down to some sort of financial compensation in order for a claimant to be made whole. There are a lot of issues out there that the amount in controversy might not justify getting an attorney involved. Other issues would clearly justify getting counsel involved, but for the fact that the person may not have the funds to retain counsel. And so this removes all of that from it, and that these clients are entitled to access to our office, and we're obligated to provide a benefit to them for no additional charge to them.
Yeah. And that's nice. Lawyers don't often get to practice in that way.
Oh, it's excellent.
All right, so Ben, I feel like you're the guy to answer this question. No pressure.
All right.
What's your best LegalShield story? Like, what's the best client interaction you had where you felt like you've really helped somebody?
That's actually an easy one.
Okay,
it's
good.
An easy one.
Good.
It was when I first started practicing at LegalShield, so back in 2002. I'd come out of my hardcore insurance defense practice where it was a whole different animal. I was able to have a little old lady call me on the phone, a veritable little old lady, verified. She had called and said her neighbor's trash was blowing in her yard and their dog was barking at night. This is not something the normal lawyer's going to get involved with, but she tried to do everything she could do to get a good night's sleep and the rest of it. So I wrote the neighbor a letter, and I said, hey, please put your dog up. There's a noise ordinance, and please keep your leaves on your side of the yard line. I didn't hear from the lady for a little while, and then I got a Hallmark card, an actual Hallmark card in the mail from that little old lady saying, thank you so much. I'd gotten a fresh night of sleep.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah. And
Not a shoebox screening, right? Like a nice Hallmark card.
A real Hallmark card, right? Yeah,
Very
legitimate.
Very good.
And ever since then, I was hooked because I went to law school to help people, and that was a real tangible benefit to helping somebody with a very small problem she couldn't solve herself.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Joy, do you have a good LegalShield story?
Yeah,
You can pass if not.
This is from a few years ago, but we had, actually it was a mother who called us to talk about this like after school weekend part-time job that her son had, and some problems that he was having. It was a local movie theater, and she just felt like there may have been some issues with the way the manager was treating some of the employees.
Yeah.
And it turned out, this ended up being pretty much the largest employment discrimination case that my firm ever handled.
Really?
And
Wow.
there were 16 or 17 plaintiffs. The EEOC actually brought the case on behalf of them, and we intervened and represented individual members because this manager was a convicted sex offender, and he was working in a movie theater with a lot of young boys. So it was just, the mother that had originally called us had no idea. This was just, a part-time job for her son. She didn't think that, she could probably afford to get an attorney. She had no idea that, attorneys would be willing to help her without charging her anything up front. And so we were able to get a successful settlement on behalf of all of these children. And frankly, also, the EEOC made sure that this manager was no longer working around people like this so that he wouldn't prey on them.
That's all right, Kevin. You know
Top
where I'm
that.
going with this, right?
Top
Kevin,
that.
you've had like 30 years at the firm, right? You must have like 1,000 good stories. Can you top these two?
Probably not, but I can certainly talk about something that's maybe slightly different, and this is along the lines of what Joy was talking about. This case is one that wrapped up about a year ago, and it probably goes down as one of my longest cases. It started when my client was 17. He was charged with vehicular homicide stemming from a case with a classmate in another car where they were involved in an incident where 3 other classmates were struck after class had let out. They were racing down the street and struck 3 classmates, one of whom was killed and 2 others were seriously injured. When he presented to our office, he was a high school junior, 17 years of age, and he was facing a total of 76 years to serve in prison because of the charges that had been levied against him. And we got involved in that case. I remember personally interviewing an armload of witnesses, meeting with the prosecutor multiple times, meeting with eyewitnesses at the scene, and making multiple court appearances. And when the case finally wrapped up, he was 22. He had married, graduated, of course, secured employment, married, had a child, and we were able to get the case resolved for 12 months on probation and a plea to 1 misdemeanor count.
Wow.
With all of the felonies having been thrown out. So when you're involved in a case that long and you have that kind of impact on someone's life, they stay in your circle, so to speak. So even though the case resolved about a year and a half ago, I still hear from him. I hear from his family, and we're certainly their lawyers for life. And they've utilized our services since then. And a lot of it has to do with our involvement in that case for as long as we were. And one of the keys is we made ourselves accessible. And we connected with him on a level that, but for him having had LegalShield, he would not have been entitled to counsel at no charge. And he was in that donut where, as a middle-class American, he wouldn't have been entitled to representation under the court-appointed counsel system we have in Georgia. So he would have been left to defend himself.
That's a good story. I feel like I'm Dr. Phil a little bit right now, but this has been fun. All right, so one of the things you talked about, Kevin, which I think is interesting, is you're now you're now the family lawyer for this family. Mm-hmm. So it sounds to me like the LegalShield work you do also generates significant other business as well that's not immediately coming from LegalShield. And that seems like one of the real advantages of doing this. Like, you're doing good work, but then you're also getting more work on top of that.
Absolutely. We pride ourselves on being able to resolve a case at the earliest, lowest level possible. It's beneficial for the client and, frankly, for the firm as well many times. But we're also available for those cases that are more protracted in nature and more involved. And that's one of the benefits to LegalShield clients is beyond that initial consultation, at the appropriate time to retain counsel, we're there for them to do that as well.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so just a couple more questions for you guys here, because I know you're busy. You got more LegalShield calls to take right now. Probably 50 of them have come in since we've been doing this podcast. So, Joy, you've got offices in 3 different states, and you're a LegalShield provider for all those states. How do you manage that as somebody who runs a law firm?
Well, we have good people that work for us that help us manage, and that's
Minions,
honestly
that's
the
how
truth.
you run it. All right. That's fair.
But, it is something that, honestly, I probably spend more of my time now managing the law firm than practicing law. But that's great some days. Some days I'd rather just, be doing discovery, which said no one ever. But, actually, a lot of my time is spent managing the firm, but I still do cases as well, just because I find that helps me stay interested in the law and aware of everything that's going on. And also, I think, honestly, it helps me be a better manager.
So my last question for you, sometimes I like to end on a fun question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate Mike Krzyzewski?
I
30?
mean, there's not a number that high.
Is there not a number that reflects that?
Honestly,
That's fair.
though, I think he is a great person. Just as a coach, he's not exactly my cup of
That's
tea.
a perfect lawyer answer. I like how you backed it down. You're like, I hate him on a 1 to 10 scale at 100, but he's a good man.
He
That
is,
was
and
well
he does
done.
a lot of good things for the community.
Perfectly played. We're giving high fives over here, and reasonably so. So, Ben, I'm going to end with you. Last questions for you.
Okay.
You're giving a presentation tomorrow about multi-jurisdictional workforce?
Multi-generational workforce.
Multi-generational, which I think, I've heard this is going to be the most exciting presentation at the conference. Could you tease that a little bit and tell
my
people
mom
some
told you
thoughts
that
on it?
first.
Yes, I heard that. Your mom texted me, and then my mom texted me. But can you give us a little bit of tease on some of the issues you see on that front?
Multi-generational workforce really is learning how to manage a company, because I'm like Joy now. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a business owner. But you have to learn how to manage people your age, older than you, younger than you, and everybody is motivated differently. And we have a lot of long-term employees and some new employees, so it's really to help business owners figure out how to keep people motivated, energized, and happy. Because we're in the customer service business.
Absolutely.
And you got to be smiling when you're answering the phone.
Beautiful.
So that's what's going to help you learn how to do that.
I feel like we could continue to talk, but I have to end it now, unfortunately. And I know you all have stuff to do. So I wanted to thank you all for joining us today, now that we're at the end of our programming. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
And so if our listeners have questions or they want to follow up with you and learn more about what you do and your practices, can you give them some information on how to do that? And we'll start with you, Kevin.
Sure, they can reach our firm through our website, deminglaw.com. They can call the office at 770-564-2600.
So deminglaw.com, that's DEMING law.com.
That's correct.
You don't want to give out your personal cell phone before we finish here?
No.
All right. Ben, how can people find out more
I'm
about your
tempted to
firm?
almost do that to see what's going to happen.
If people call you, don't blame me. I told
won't.
you this was popular.
I know, so I want to check out how many calls I'll get. You can always throw it away. Same thing as Kevin. It would be theandersonlawfirm.com. The T-H-E, Anderson
Yep.
with an O, lawfirm.com.
Yep.
I'm not going to give out a phone number.
Good for you. That's a smart call. So
Email everywhere. Yeah.
Email, visit theandersonlawfirm.com. All right, and last but not least, Joy, how can people find out about you and your firm?
Our website is www.merritt, and that's MERRITT, Webb, WEBB.com.
Excellent. Well, that's all we have time for in this episode. I want to thank our listeners for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please rate and review us in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, some podcasting service I don't even know about, or your favorite podcasting app. My name is Jared Correia of Red Cave Law Firm Consulting and Gideon Software. Until next time, thanks for listening.
If you'd like more information about what you've heard today, please visit LegalTalkNetwork.com. Subscribe via iTunes and RSS. Find us on Twitter and Facebook, or download our free Legal Talk Network app in Google Play and iTunes. The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer.